We apologize for bringing you the news now late, but we welcome you all the same. Thank you for joining us here on News Now with me, Joe Hanson. Let's take a look at the top stories for this hour very quickly. Today on News Now, we'll look at the electricity grid collapse, which happens to be one of the major stories as government dashes hopes of an end to constant electricity grid collapse in Nigeria. Zamfara airstrikes affected communities groan as army commences probe. Rescue operations for trapped illegal miners resume in South African mine shaft. We have these stories here for you and more. Stay with us. The stories will be here in a moment. The dreams of constant power supply in Nigeria may not be a reality in the near future. This is because the federal government has admitted that the national electricity grid will remain prone to collapse due to the government's inability to repair a crucial transmission line. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu, who spoke during the 2025 budget defense session with the Senate's Joint Committee on Power, said the faulty Shiroro-Kaduna-Mando line, which is located in northern Nigeria, could not be fixed due to what he termed persistent insecurity challenges. Shiroro-Kaduna-Mando line has been out of service since a vandalism incident in October 2024. Adelabu noted that failure of the line has placed immense pressure on the grid, leading to frequent collapses. The minister also disclosed plans to invest 36 billion naira in the distribution of transformers across the 6 geopolitical zones. Well, away from the power sector, the chief of the air staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has deployed a high-level fact-finding team to Zamfara State over alleged accidental bombing of civilian casualties during Saturday's operation by NAF in the state. The accident bombing reportedly happened in Kakindawa, a village, Marandun local government area of Zamfara State, with 16 vigilantes allegedly killed. The accidental bombing reportedly happened in Kakindawa village, Marandun local government area. And right now, let's see if we have our man who is indeed set and ready to join us. We do have Emmanuel Bagudu on ground. Good morning to you, Emmanuel Bagudu. Thanks again for making time out to ensure that you follow through with this story. When we spoke yesterday, you did mention that you would make your way down there. Can you quickly tell us what the update simply is?
Yes. Right now, I am in Kauranamuda, actually, General Hospital Kauranamuda, where the injured victims have been hospitalized. Just this morning, 10 of those victims were discharged, and then one is left who is critically injured. 11 were actually admitted here in the hospital, General Hospital Kauranamuda, who were affected by this erroneous Air Force jet bombing of that community, of those vigilantes. So I had a chat with one of the patients. Right now, I'm in the office of the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, who actually asked me to wait for him. He's going to give me details of the situation of the patients, how they were treated, and the current situation of the current patient who is being held back in the hospital. So right now, I have information that the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State is going to be on his way to that community this morning. I just met the councillor of the ward, Bidangoga ward. Actually, that's the name of ward of that where that incident happened. Honorable Saraju, who gave me details that they have been on top of the situation, that they have actually discharged 10 of the victims, and that actually that the number of persons that actually died are more than 16, because some people are still displaced. That's what I was told at the general hospital. I shared some videos of the patient who is being treated currently in the hospital. And as soon as the chief medical director comes, he's going to give me details of what really happened as far as the treatment of this patient is concerned. Thank you.
All right, Emmanuel Bagudu, you've walked into the hospital. Can you give us a picture of what you saw from getting into the hospital? Did you see families of patients who actually were affected? And how many patients were you able to count? Can you also share with us what are the things that you saw?
Yes, very critically injured victims. I saw families of these patients, and I saw very pathetic situation where very bloody pictures, very pathetic pictures, very pictures that actually require some kind of screening before they can go on screen. I spoke to one of the patients who told me that his entire left foot, there is no single bone on it. everything is damaged, and then he's just waiting for for a miracle to happen. A total of 11 patients were actually admitted here at the general hospital. Like I said, I'm currently at the office of the chief medical director of the hospital, talking about Lakurawa General Hospital here in Lakurawa local government in Zamfara State. So the situation is very, very critical. I hope to get details from the chief medical director in the next few minutes, who is going to give me the reason why the 10 patients were discharged and then one is being brought back in the hospital. So it's a very, very serious situation. By the time the chief medical director comes by, he's going to give us details of what we have here.
All right, while we wait for the chief medical director, and while you've also shared with us that there are victims who have been very, very, let's say, critically injured, can you also share with us what the communities are saying? Are they asking for the army to come through and talk with them, possibly have a tete-a-tete or some form of conversation with them in line with what they are willing to do? We do know that most times there are compensations and so on. You also mentioned about the deputy governor who's equally on his way. If I did get you right, could you state that clearly again for us?
Yes, I had a chat with Honorable Sarajo. Honorable Sarajo is the councillor of Gidengoga Ward. Gidengoga Ward is a ward under the Maradu local government. He's a councillor. He's a councillor. Of course, the councillor of that ward. He spoke to me. He told me that the situation is being looked into. I mean, for the yesterday we saw the statement from the Nigerian Air Force probing the situation, sending a team to come and do some fact finding in the community. And then today, the councillor told me that the deputy governor will either be in the hospital, will come to the hospital first before getting to the community. So I think this is from today that interventions are beginning to churn in. So by the time by the time it's evening, we are going to get details of whether or not there is any form of compensation, or whether or not this hospital, bills have been taken care of by the government or by the Air Force. So we'll find that out as time goes on. But since this incident happened Saturday evening, I think it is from this morning or last night where the state Air Force made their first statement that interventions are beginning to churn out as far as this issue is concerned. So by evening, we hope to see more interventions about the situation. Yeah.
All right. For us, we wouldn't wait till evening. Hopefully, we'll get back to you a few hours from now, especially when the medical staff and, of course, the team do return and you speak to them. There's a lot to cover, Emmanuel Bagudu, but I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll circle back to you in a moment.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move on now. The Sokoto State Command of the Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS, is pledged to bolster border security in response to threats posed by the emerging Lakurawa Sect. State Comptroller Yusuf Bage made the commitment on Monday while addressing the leadership of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, who paid him a courtesy visit in Sokoto. Bage highlighted the security risks associated with the Lakurawa Sect, describing it as a growing concern in the region. He noted that members of the sect often infiltrate the country through illegal entry points, further complicating efforts to maintain security. Bage emphasized the importance of effective border management, assuring that the command remains committed to safeguarding Nigeria's territorial integrity. Meanwhile, suspected members of the terror group Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP, have been on a rampage since the early hours of Sunday in Borno State. ISWAP members launched a deadly attack in Dumba, a community in Kukawa local council area, killing at least 40 farmers. Local residents who spoke to News Central say the terrorists stormed the farmers' homes, following a disagreement over unpaid taxes. At least 2 people were also killed in a separate attack in Chibok by the terror group. In northeast Nigeria, farmers pay ISWAP thousands of naira so they can keep farming and feed their families. The taxes ISWAP collects from these farmers is one of the ways the terror group bankrolls its operations in the region. The exact number of casualties remains unclear, but the state governor, Babagana Zulum, has condemned the attack and called on the military to do all it can to secure the area. You're watching news now here on News Central Television. We have an update on the Ibadan Stampede story, but that will be after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back to News Now. Naomi Silekwonla, a former Queen of the Ife Kingdom, has been granted bail by the Oyo State High Court. The court also granted bail to Ibadan-based media personality Oriyomi Hamzat and the principal of Islamic High School, Abdullahi Fasasi. The three accused are facing a full count of conspiracy, acceleration of death, and failure to provide adequate security and medical facilities following the tragedy that happened during the Christmas funfair in Ibadan in December last year, when no fewer than 35 children died. The judge gave 5 conditions for the bill, including 10 million naira to sureties who must submit landed documents within the court's jurisdiction. Rumors about the purported defection of the governor of Delta State, South Nigeria, Sheriff Oborevwori, to the All Progressives Congress have been verified by the State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Riverine and Public Information, Charles Anyagu. Anyagu revealed this information to journalists in Asaba shortly after assuming office at the Ministry of Information following a minor cabinet reshuffle by the state governor. News Central correspondent Austin Azu brings us more in this report.
Over the weekend, speculation emerged on Delta State social media platforms regarding a minor cabinet reshuffle by Governor Sheriff Oborevwori, which included the redeployment of Ifeanyi Uswoza, the former Commissioner for Information, to Government House as Commissioner for Special Duties, and Charles Anyagu, the immediate past Commissioner for Information, returning to head the Ministry of Information and Works, Rural Roads and Riverine.
All I know is that by the grace of God today, I'll be given the responsibility to take charge of the activities of this ministry. And there is no challenge with my ministry in the Ministry of Works. Now, what happened in terms of redeployment is a routine.
Speaking on a wide range of issues regarding the governance of the state, Anyagu debunks speculation of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori's defection to the APC.
Oborevwori is a very proud member of the People's Democratic Party. Oborevwori is a clear leader amongst leaders of the party in Nigeria, and Oborevwori is not in any way hungry to abandon the People's Democratic Party.
Anyagu stated that the state government has proposed 150 housing units to be built across the 3 senatorial districts of the state to address housing challenges in the state. The commissioner also comments on the state's debt profile.
In the last 19 months, the man had played more than 200 billion to be able to reduce that debt profile, both contractual and the ones that were also taken as loan to finance certain investments. And I cannot begin to tell you this is what is left, because number one, every day you award a project, new debt comes in.
Charles Anyagu is set to oversee the Ministry of Information and Works, Rural and Riverine Communities. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
Well, let's now take you to Lagos, where the State House of Assembly has impeached its Speaker Mudashiru Obasa. Obasa was removed for allegedly arriving late to legislative meetings and other improper behaviors like inciting his fellow lawmakers against one another and for reportedly spending 17 billion naira to construct assembly complex fences, to name a few allegations. Meanwhile, Obasa has denied any wrongdoing and has described the allegations as funny and fake. He added that the allegations stemmed from the fear of some people over the 2027 election year. Obasa also refuted claims that the House spent 200 million naira on its recently organized 22nd Thanksgiving service for staff. Meanwhile, the Lagos House of Assembly has replaced the former Speaker with his deputy, Lasbat Meranda, and elected the Deputy Chief Whip Fatai Mojid as the Deputy Speaker. Meranda will be the first woman to serve as the Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly since 1979. 7 men have previously held the position. In 2015, Meranda was elected to the Assembly as a lawmaker representing the Apapa constituency, and she's currently serving her 3rd term. Before joining the Lagos Parliament, she worked as a political aide in Apapa local government area between 2008 and 2014. She began her career in the private sector and was born on August 16, 1980 in Lagos. The high rate of out-of-school children has continued to increase, raising concerns from stakeholders. With children touted as the leaders of tomorrow, the issue of a sound education prepares them for the task ahead of them. However, the problem of rising cases of out-of-school children threatens the very foundation needed for the future leaders. News Central's Chizoba Nyonwe in Jos, the Plateau State capital, takes a look at this development.
Within the primary level of education resumed for the 2024-2025 academic session on Monday. Sadly, many of their peers did not, and these ones seem not to have hopes of ever attending a school to get educated. Statistics from the National Mass Education Program Initiative says among the states in Nigeria, Kebbi has the highest rate of out-of-school children with 66.4%, while Anambra has the lowest, 2.9%, and Plateau in the North Central Zone has a 23.2% rate. With these statistics, Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children in the world, and this is against the backdrop of the facts that it has free and compulsory education policy for children in the country. What is the reason behind this high rate of out-of-school children, especially in Plateau State?
Particularly for us on the Plateau, we have the issue of mining activities by learners who are supposed to be in school. We have the issue of insecurity that is being nipped in the bud. We have the issues of strike, persistent strike. We also have the issue of poverty that people hinge upon. Sometimes it's more of fiction than reality.
In the face of poverty, insecurities, and other barriers that seem to be the major reasons behind these high rates, the question on the lips of many is, what is the way forward in Plateau State?
Government is working on building centers for displaced persons to be able to, so as not to lose out completely. And then for the mining aspect, we are working on legislation so as to ensure that school-going age children are back to school. These are some areas in which we are working upon to ensure that the out-of-school syndrome is curtailed to the barest minimum on the plateau.
Now, as plans of government are still being waited upon, stakeholders have been urged to wade into this fight against the alarming rate of out-of-school children in the state. In Jos, Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
Following the emergence of Senator John Azuta Mbata as the new President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo worldwide, residents of Umuahia, Abia State capital, southeast Nigeria, want him to focus on uniting the Igbo nation amongst themselves as well as strengthening friendships with other tribes in the country. The new executive has also been tasked to work towards the release of Nnamdi Kanu from detention. News Central's Chinwo Gele has more in this report.
The process of choosing leaders comes leadership itself. Ohanaeze Ndigbo has over the years had leaders from the 5 southeast states and now has on the saddle of its leadership an Igbo from Rivers State. While setting agenda for the new leadership, the people say its major focus should be to secure the release of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu.
When Nnamdi Kanu is released, I think southeast we have a relief of some certain things.
The people are confident that the new president can live up to expectations and prove naysayers wrong.
So one of the things is for him to unite all of us. Let him write his name in the gold from Rivers. Let him do something others never did. So that is what we want him to do. And if I were to vote, I would have voted for him. So let him surprise us.
They let them be united among themselves. Because when a house is divided, you can't start.
A splinter group of Ohanese Ndibo, which also allegedly conducted an election in Rivers State and produced a different person as president, continues to question the unity of the apex Igbo socio-cultural organization.
So we want to see a leader who cuts across other ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbos are not existing alone or in isolation in Nigeria. Igbos are part and parcel of the bigger society called Nigeria. And I want to see in Senator Mbata, as expected, that he will reach out to other ethnic groups so that we can build a stable society.
Bishop Sunday Onoha says anyone laying claim to a parallel body ought to define their status.
All of them stand. These are distinguished men of Igbo extraction who have provided leadership globally in Nigeria and to the Igbo nation. And those men are there. So I will ask any other person claiming any other thing about his succession.
While Senator Azota Mbata sets to accomplish the tasks ahead, one of his assignments must include seeking reconciliation with the aggrieved members. In Omahia for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
After the break, we'll take a look at an update from Stilfontein concerning the trapped miners. Do stay with us here on News Now. Welcome back. 9 bodies have been retrieved so far at Stilfontein mine as the rescue operations resume formally. Community members who volunteered to go underground say they have counted over 100 bodies, I beg your pardon, and hundreds of illegal miners still trapped in the mine shaft. The rescue comes after the Pretoria High Court ordered the government to immediately start the rescue mission. The rescue mission is expected to last 10 days. Well, News Central's Bongali Siziba is at the mine as we cross over to her this morning here again on News Now. Bongali Siziba, if you can hear me, good morning and thanks once again for joining us on this morning's broadcast. Can you give us an update? The last time we did hear from you, you talked about how those who have been rescued, how they're faring and so on. Do you have any update for us?
Joe, good morning. Yes, I'll just ask my camera guy just to zoom in. We are a little bit far, but I'm sure he can zoom in what you are seeing now. We are seeing what we call the cranes that are going down there. A few minutes ago, we saw dead bodies coming out that are being retrieved from the mine, but we cannot get closer than where we are. So the rescue team is working hard there just to try and retrieve those great dead bodies and also rescue those that are still alive. But I'll also ask my camera guy to show you around on my right. We have the community members that are just coming through. Like you heard Zukisi, the community member, telling us that they are not happy about the coming in today of the Minister of Mines. Why are they not happy? Because we haven't seen the minister since this began, and he's only coming out now, so they are not happy about that. I'll ask my camera guy also to show you on my right where you can see the community members that have come here. According to them, they don't want the minister here because they've been waiting for the minister just to speak to them or to come and talk to them and help with this rescue mission, but we haven't seen the minister. But also I have my colleague here, Tuso Kumalo, so that we can just talk about this rescue mission. So we know that most of the people that are underground, most of them are foreigners, and we have been asking ourselves why we haven't seen governments from Lesotho, Zimbabwe and Mozambique coming in just to chip in and help here, because now the blame is only on South African government.
It's quite a sad moment, especially for Africa and Southern Africa, as you have rightly said. It is on record that the majority of people that are underground are foreign nationals. We have seen those that have been arrested. We have seen that have appeared in court. They are foreign nationals. Zimbabwe has quite a large number. Mozambique as well a large number. But we have not seen them chipping in, especially when it was time when the rescue team said it needs funds, and the Northwest government said there are no funds. We didn't see them chipping in with money. We've seen them visiting at court. The Mozambican consulate was there, but not further than that. So it is very sad that their nationals that they've failed to take care of in their countries in terms of providing employment have come to South Africa. They find themselves in problems. They leave South Africa again to take care of that situation. So I think it's unfair on South Africa, and it's a shame to these nationals, to the governments of these nationals who have failed to do anything at all in terms of saving these people that are here. Over 100 of them have died now. Some of them are starving, and they are very thin and very sick. But we don't see them playing the ball. And the question is, why? And why are they doing this? Are these not their nationals? What is the problem? It's just a shame. This is how we can describe it.
And another question that I'll pose to you, what does it mean for Africa, for African citizens, when we look at our governments, they are not able to cater for its citizens. When things like this happens, they become mute. What does it mean for Africans with the governments that we have?
It's very much disturbing. It's a matter of stomach politics in Africa. These people are taking care of themselves and themselves only. They were still able to fly out. They were still able to go around areas. They were still able to spend money on things that are not necessary at all. But what happens when citizens are in trouble? No one does anything. So it's just a difficult moment for citizens of Africa.
Joe, I just want my camera guy just to pan in to the community members that are coming here holding placards with dissatisfaction about what has been happening here. They are going to show their dissatisfaction, especially with
Well, we're hoping to re-establish connection with Bongani Siziba, but I think the points there are being, of course, explained clearly by her, our reporter who's on ground there at the Stilfontein Mines. Rescue operation is ongoing. You did see a lot of activities being put in place, machineries, and not forgetting to, you also have placards being carried by protesters who are not happy that the minister hasn't spoken ever since this particular tragedy occurred. Well, the tragedy is still ongoing. There are mixed reactions, no doubt. I'll get a little tip if we have Bongani Siziba, and she would hopefully continue from there and possibly speak with those who are indeed livid and not happy with the situation of things. There have been questions and calls on why it took so long for the government of South Africa to have also rescued these miners who were trapped. Bongani, back to you now. Could you also continue from where you stopped, especially with the protesters who were approaching?
Yes, Joe. Yes, Joe, I'm just trying to see if we can get closer, just calling in my camera guy to get closer so that we can see what is written on these placards. Some of them are written that we are the ones that said our people are dying, free our people. Stilfontein, the next Marikana. When they're talking about Marikana, we know what happened in Marikana when thousands of miners were killed in around 2012. So these community members that are here are not happy about what has been happening, that now the government has come in to rescue when most of the miners that are down there have died. But just to try and see if I can grab one of the community members just to speak to them and hear. Hi, good morning, sir. Please, why is the community members here and why are they not happy?
They are not happy because, like we have stated in our first operation on October, that the government and the police, the miners underground, they are trapped. So that is why that we requested the family members to be part of this operation so that they can be able to identify their loved ones.
We heard that the minister is coming here, and I guess this is one of the reasons that we are seeing community members here. Your thoughts about the minister coming in last minute?
No, we are very much disappointed as community leaders because we have requested the minister to form part of this operation early October. So we fail to understand why now, because already many people, they have lost their lives.
Okay, let me just try to grab someone here again. Good morning, my brother. We're seeing the community members here. What's going on?
No, the community members are here. You must understand one thing. They've been waiting for a long time for their loved ones. Most of these people, they have their families underground there. So they are here to come and see what is really happening. They must also have a decency to see that their loved ones are going to be pulled underground today. So that's the only reason that they are here, to come to be in solidarity with us, to be in solidarity with their families and their friends and their brothers who are being retrieved from underground.
Thank you. Let me just try to maybe grab a sister here who has her brother who is underground and just hear how she's feeling now when she's seeing bodies coming out, those that are still alive coming out. How do you feel, my sister?
I'm not okay, but I'm just hopeful to God that everything it works in my family's favor. We've been praying to God. We've been asking our ancestors that my brother, wherever he is, they keep him safe so that he can come back alive. I think the more that we can do is to be strong, because I think for us to be weak, it won't help us. He needs us more stronger for him now. It's not about us, it's about him.
Okay, thank you so much. Back to you, Joe. As you can see, a lot of activity happening here. Community members not happy that the government has taken so much long to come and rescue these miners. They are also not happy that they are seeing the minister also coming last minute when there is already a massacre. So this is the situation here in Stilfontein. We'll continue to be updating our viewers about what exactly is happening here, but what we know that at around 1 o'clock, we are going to see the Minister of Minerals coming here. What he's going to speak to the communities, we don't know, but what we know is that the communities here are not happy.
Thank you so much, Bongani Siziba, for that extensive and very, very deep coverage on what's happening right there concerning the mines and the rescue mission. Thank you. Well, let's go for a break. When we come back, quickly, let's bring to you what's happening from outside of the other side of the world, talking about World Rap. Tens of thousands of residents displaced by the massive Palisades and Eaton wildfires in Los Angeles will remain unable to return home for at least 4 more days. Los Angeles County Fire Chief Anthony Marin has cautioned that the situation remains perilous, with gusted winds forecasted for the coming days. Emergency crews are continuing their efforts to control the flames, which remain highly unpredictable. Residents are being urged to remain patient as authorities work to ensure their safety amid the ongoing crisis. The wildfires have triggered widespread evacuations, leaving frustrated evacuees forming long lines at checkpoints in hopes of assessing no-go zones. Many are desperate to retrieve essential items such as medications or clothing left behind in the rush to flee. Others are anxious to assess whether their homes have survived the inferno. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has appointed Nawaf Salam, the presiding judge at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, as Prime Minister, following consultations with lawmakers. The announcement was made by Antoine Chouhier, Director General of the Lebanese Presidency, who confirmed that President Aoun officially tasked Judge Salam with forming a new government after consulting with the Speaker of the House of Representatives. This marks the end of a 2-year presidential vacuum and a government operating in a caretaker capacity. Observers hope this new leadership will steer the crisis-hit nation towards stability and recovery. The Nigerian government has launched the Technology Export and Digital Trade Desk to attract investment into the tech sector and increase annual funding for startups to $5 billion. Announced by Dr. Bosun Tijani, Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, the initiative aims to boost Nigeria's technology export and help local companies compete globally. The desk seeks to raise the tech sector's GDP contribution from 14% to 18% to 21% in 3 years. It also aligns with Nigeria's goal to improve its rank in the Economic Complexity Index with a strategic focus on innovation, entrepreneurship, and global competitiveness. The initiative supports President Tinubu's $1 trillion economy goal. Mali's military junta has begun seizing gold stockpiles from Barrick Gold's Lolo Gonkoto mine following an interim order issued on January 11. The Canadian miner is locked in a standoff with the government over revenue distribution from the mine, with shipments blocked since November. Barrick has warned it may suspend operations if disruptions persist. Other producers, such as B2 Gold, have reached settlements involving increased royalty payments. Mali's mining ministry has declined to comment, and Barrick warns the situation could harm its operations and Mali's economy. In sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League has handed down severe penalties to bottom-ranked Nasarawa United following violent incidents at their match against Rivers United. The league body deducted 3 points and 3 goals from Nasarawa's season total, along with imposing a 3 million naira fine. The sanctions come after fans assaulted match officials and Rivers United personnel during the matchday 18 fixture. Nasarawa United will now play their home games behind closed doors when the league resumes on January 25th. The team's home venue, Abia City Stadium, will remain closed to spectators until security improvements are made. The club has also been ordered to identify and prosecute those responsible for the assault, with a 7-day deadline to report their progress. Former UFC rivals Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker have joined forces. The two were spotted training together ahead of Adesanya's upcoming fight against Nassourdine Imavov at UFC Saudi Arabia. Adesanya shared footage of their training session on social media, writing, "New year, new friends," a surprising development given their past battles in the octagon. The partnership has caught the attention of UFC stars. Whittaker, who previously lost his title to Adesanya, believes his former rival is the favorite against Imavov. The February 1st bout marks Adesanya's return following back-to-back losses to Duplessis and Strickland. A win could put the former champion back in title contention. Taylor Fritz dominated his opening match of the Australian Open, dispatching fellow American Jensen Brooksby in straight sets, while Britain's Emma Raducanu advanced with a strong victory over Ekaterina Alexandrova. All eyes are on 3-time finalist Daniil Medvedev, who begins his campaign against Thailand's Kasidit Samrich. The Russian star is determined to be a disruptor this year after heartbreaking losses in previous finals. Australia's hometown favourite Alex de Minaur takes centre stage tonight against Botic van de Zandschulp, carrying hopes of becoming the first Australian men's champion since 1976. In other matches, fourth seed Jasmine Paolini faces China's Wei Sijai, while Elena Rybakina meets 16-year-old Australian prodigy Emerson Jones. In early results, Denmark's Holger Rune survived a 5-set thriller, while Anna Kalinskaya withdrew just before her scheduled match. And that's all we have for you on the news for this hour. Before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Government dashes hopes of an end to constant electricity grid collapse here in Nigeria. Affected communities groan as army commences probe into Zamfara airstrikes. And we also told you that rescue operations for trapped illegal miners has resumed in South African mine shaft. And we're joined by our correspondent Bongani Siziba on that one. Well, you can watch News Central live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the following platforms right there on the TV screen. And don't forget to also stream live on Facebook as well as on YouTube and also on X. My name is Joe Hansen, thanking you for watching. The ladies will be here as they gather to bring to you Jasiri for today. Do stay tuned.